in my mind, the level of quality of the FSD driver is basically there. Like, obviously, they're still going to continue to improve that. But the two big bottlenecks behind that are better navigation data, which we've already talked about, and this memory piece.
Well, this is our favorite shows, to actually watch videos of how FSD is performing in China. They are shocked and they're excited. If you listen to their intonation, it's looking really, really good so far. And so let's watch some of the interesting ones that came out just this week. Ray for Tesla shared this. Chinese FSD testers were blown away. Couldn't believe what happened. FSD was looking for road entrance in a big open lot. It's a big open lot. It's looking for the road entrance. No markings on the ground, no signs. FSD recognized not going off the edge of the lot. It almost looked like FSD was conscious, sort of knowing what was happening. And Elon said it will only get better. And Ashok said some would say it's a different kind of AGI. So let's watch this.
我靠，它的速度不慢呀！我靠，有点吓人啊！我靠，这个时候它的车机画面上其实画不出来那个图了。
I mean, it might be seeing the. There's no road markings, but it can kind of see that the cars have been here.
Yeah, and it can also definitely see the actual road over on the left. You could see the cars driving in the visualization on the actual road. This is the good part right here. Yeah, like, so it kind of drops off right there, and the Tesla's like, nope, ain't going there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
All that excitement.
So it's searching for the entrance.
I mean, it looks very human-like. You know, I could imagine doing basically the same thing, trying to find, hey, can I get out over this way? Oh no, I can't, and then just going back to the point where I'm assuming that they entered this lot.
I mean, for it to even know what it's doing, like, what is this? Does it even know it's a lot? I guess it does, right? Because of the maps.
It's, yeah, it can kind of like, it can tell that where it is, like right around it, is drivable, that it's smooth enough, and that you can kind of see the tire marks and stuff. Just like, you know, if you're out in a field or whatever, FSD can sometimes find its way out of parking lots and stuff, where they do like big events, and, you know, maybe they're using grass field or gravel field or whatever as parking.
This must be the entrance to the parking lot and figured it out. There it is. You see that? You see the down below? It noticed it and it showed you that it's an exit.
Yeah, and you can see the path. Finally, it's like, aha, there it is. Here I go. And, you know, that's another just cool aspect of the visualization, that you can really see what the car is thinking there, where it didn't have the blue path until it finally recognizes, like, aha, here's the exit. And then now, like, right now, I'm just looking around because I have no idea where to actually go. So I don't have a plan. I'm just looking. And then, oh, there's the exit. Now I have a plan. Let's execute and go.
Exactly. That tells you that you can tell what it's thinking. Ashok says some would say it's a different kind of AGI. That's a cool one. Okay, here's another one. Thank you to Aaron Lee, who's been sharing all these videos coming from Douyin, which is TikTok, China's version of TikTok. An elderly driver got FSD the 1 month free trial. So Tesla just released in China FSD for free 1 month free trial, which means that very likely within a month, they're going to offer monthly subscription too. That's coming soon, it looks like, and they're seeing some code sometimes. So we'll see. He finds it amazing, easing future long trips and daily commutes. And then Aaron added subtitles. Elderly driver.
Yeah, he said, ha, it's nice that it stopped at the road light. Oh, good, good, good. But better than you drive, right?
You know, like, I think you said this before, right? Like, this is the kind of stuff we said when we first were trying it out.
Yeah. Oh, hey, it yields to pedestrians, see?
Yeah. And this is both scooters and people walking.
Bicycles, yeah.
That's interesting. You're too polite, because I think in China, would you have waited, or do you just go ahead and, you know, beat in and say, tell you stop instead of me? And that's fair. Yep. That's not just China. This is like something how people in New York would drive for something like that. I noticed one time, it was funny. Like I was, you know, I'm from Seattle, and there's like courtesy here, right? You always let whoever's there first before you, right? And it's in fact the silly thing is like, no, you go. That happens here. But if you go to New York and you even hesitate a little bit, all the drivers get mad at you. Like, what do you get going, dude? Because it's like, it's known there that that's your how to drive. And so it needs to learn how to drive in New York versus Seattle versus China. And so here's interesting. Is it too polite in China? Still, for safety reasons, you know. Yeah. So what do you think about this? This is elderly drivers. Do you think that elderly drivers, because, you know, somebody told me before, like, I think Larry Goldberg was saying that, you know, he thinks that this is a huge market for elderly. And I'm like, they're like the last group that's going to even want to try something new, you know?
Yeah, I definitely hear a lot of skepticism from older people that I talk to, but I think there is a cutoff between like someone who's older and just not necessarily very tech savvy, and they're still fully capable of driving, versus once they get to that point where they can't see very well, or for whatever reason they can't drive very well and they feel very uncomfortable driving, I think those people might actually then be a lot more open to trying it. And then I think it's so easy that once you try it, that it is something that they can learn and benefit greatly from. So I think it's going to kind of be a both and, that there's going to be a lot of old people that are just like, no, I don't want to deal with this at all, ever. But I think there's going to be a segment of the population that does actually adopt this specifically because they want the freedom to move around, but they don't want to be responsible for driving, or they can't drive, or whatever. You know, there's a whole bunch of reasons why someone would be interested in being able to do this. It's great that it's working that well already in China. And then one of the things that I do wonder about is how does the quality of the map data that Baidu has in China impact how well the FSD system works in China? Because I do think that might actually be something, and I haven't heard anyone else talk about this, really not having enough hands-on experience. It's hard for me to know, but if Baidu's maps are higher quality in China than Google Maps are here in the United States, I definitely know that when I drive, that errors in the map navigation are usually some of the most frequent pain points that I have with FSD, is where it's not the FSD can't execute the maneuver, it's that it was told to do the wrong thing by the navigation system. And if Baidu has a lower error rate on that kind of stuff, then the overall experience of the system, even though it's the exact same driver decision-making model, would actually be higher in China than in the United States. Like I said, I don't have an ability to really test that, but it is something that I'm very curious about.
Now, well, last week, right, they announced that Tesla engineers are going and meeting with the Baidu engineers to try to improve the mapping system. That's what they need to work on now. But the rest of it so far is working really well. So you've got another vision article or thing here that I wanted to ask you about. This is a big one. Does FSD remember the roads it has driven on? The driver noted that FSD hesitated on a road with branches needing a nudge to proceed, but then when it returned to that same road, it confidently sped through it. He suspects FSD remembers the route. Do you have a similar experience with FSD? I do. And for example, my driveway, I have this, my driveway, right? So, first it's always very hesitant trying to figure, because it's a curvy driveway to get out. Now it's going right through it. Now, is it because I've been through it so many times that it's figured it out or not? I think so, but you don't think so, right? So let's watch this first and get your opinion. I guess we didn't have this one translated.
But we need the automatic English subtitles.
Yeah. Sorry about that. But basically, this is the road. You can see that there's branches sticking out. And it looks like that this second time around, it's just going right through it, no problem. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to say, right? Because those branches may not have been sticking out as much as the first time around versus second time around, whatever.
Well, and direction matters. Maybe they look more imposing going out the driveway than in. So it could be either. I mean, I know at some point they absolutely are going to incorporate some sort of memory or learning process into this, because they have to. Like every different person's just for what you were talking about, garages and driveways. Like your car needs to understand your garage, your driveway, your parking situation, and needs to remember that and then execute it repeatedly. And there's no way to do that with just publicly available mapping data at a high level. So they're going to have to do this at some point. Would just be surprised if they're already to that point yet. And it's just hard to know because, like I said, if you're going in a driveway versus out, it's going to be different. I wouldn't necessarily expect FSD to respond the same way in both situations, but it is possible. And especially in China, it seems like they're having to do a lot more, like just the overall different number of driving scenarios that they're being presented with in China is greater. And so maybe it's possible that they're doing something that's
different there,
more dependent on the local experience and some sort of memory. And that's if they are doing that, that's huge, because adding that memory into, like, in my mind, the level of quality of the FSD driver is basically there. Like, obviously they're still going to continue to improve that, but the two big bottlenecks behind that are better navigation data, which we've already talked about, and this memory piece.
Yeah.
And so at some point right in this time frame is where I expect that Tesla has been starting to work on both of these problems. And like the fact that they're working with Baidu engineers for the navigation data in China tells me that they've already been working on their own internal maps. Because in China, they have to use the Baidu maps. So the only way that they can improve the quality of the Baidu maps is to work directly with Baidu. In the United States, they're not going to work with Google. Like, that's just not how this is going to go. They'll do it themselves, and there will be Tesla specific map solutions that they develop, and they have all the resources necessary to do that. And so they're probably deep into their Tesla custom mapping solution, and they've probably already started whatever this memory solution is going to look like as well. And I don't think we're going to know for certain until pretty close to when they say, okay, hey, we've been doing this memory thing now in the last few updates, because they're not really giving you the type of information in the release notes that would help you have confidence in this yet. And I think that they do trial this stuff and figure it out, and then they're like, okay, we're shipping this now, and it's been in the car for a while, but now we're telling you about it.
Exactly. That's exactly right. But they did tell us it's coming. Can you believe it? It's performing so well, and it still doesn't have memory. We asked Grok what it thinks. Now, does Grok know? It uses existing knowledge that's out there, and this is what it said. Right? It said Tesla's FSD likely uses local memory or caching to recall roads, boosting performance on return trips. It blends real-time camera data with pre-mapped info, possibly storing temporary data from recent drives. Evidence suggests it may learn from driver nudges, gaining confidence on familiar routes, though this is debated. Think of it like short-term memory and its neural network adapting to recent road experiences. Yeah, I agree with you. It's too early to say that this is even happening, Okay, so a couple of videos here where these owners credit FSD for saving their lives. Again, when this starts going viral in Douyin, in their social media. This is what we need to see here.
这一个是在上周六的时候的一个非常惊险的一个情况。那全程呢是开启了 FSD 的自动驾驶，很快就能看到这个车道右边其实是变窄的一个状态。
He's watching the recording of a video of him following another car in a 2-lane road. There's a large semi to his right, and the road is starting to narrow. And then all of a sudden,
非常极限了。
that truck just comes into his lane, and there's very little room. And then, wow, like
压迫感十足。
that was so close. Watch
an FSD slow down.
Yep. It slowed down and swerves to the left.
我觉得都应该会
See here,
但是 FSD 处理的非常的
right there, and it gets
妥善，我觉得
so
非常
close.
妥善。在减速的过程中
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, as it slowed down, it swerved hard to the left to
看一下
avoid.
左边。
You wouldn't. So that's one thing, for example, that you wouldn't be able to do because you're driving and you can't, keep an eye on what's going on to your blind spot.
已经被
Yeah, the question is whether or not that truck was in his blind spot. He says if he were driving himself, he probably would have got
非
hit.
常感谢
And,
这个确实救了我们这个
Not driving in China, I don't know what the specific courtesy is. I would have been leaving more space for that truck to get in. If he was,
I think it was, like you
at
said,
that point in
narrow, and then it started to move, and it was like, whoa,
Yep.
hey, it's my turn, not your turn. And then it, it's kind of cutting.